Blessings everyone, it's time for another special astrology transit episode, and in this video we are talking all about Neptune retrograde in Pisces 2021. Yes, Neptune actually went retrograde on June 25th. I apologize, I intended on having this video up a little bit earlier than that, but I got really busy. But don't worry, Neptune will be retrograde all the way up through the 1st of December, so we are still at the very beginning of it all. And I do want to remind folks, if you are new to my style of reading, please open the down bar below or check the pinned comment. What you want to do is make sure that you look and see what area of life is getting highlighted for your sign or your rising sign in order to see, okay, so everything that we're talking about in this video is going to be especially emphasized in areas of this part of my life or this part of this sign's life. It may affect other areas of your life as well, especially if you know what sign Pisces rules in your chart, or, especially if you have planets in other water signs or in earth signs. So if you've got planets in Cancer or Scorpio, or you have planets in Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, this will also be an especially emphasized time for you. And if you have a Neptune retrograde in your natal chart, this may also give you some additional insight as to how Neptune retrograde functions for you in that part of your chart. Now, in order to find out where Neptune is in your chart, or what your rising sign is, if you haven't figured that out yet, all you have to do is go to any free chart generator online. You do not have to pay for this. Cafe Astrology is a good one if you want to check that out. And plug in your birth date, time, and location of birth. Location of birth. I've done readings for plenty of clients who, accidentally put where they are now. And it's like, look, you weren't born here that year, that time. So, make sure it's your location of birth. And make sure that the time of birth is within a 30 to 45 minute approximation, right? Give or take, before or after. So you can get as precise as you can when it comes to your birth chart generation. And then you can look and see, okay, do I have a Neptune retrograde in my chart? And you can also see what is my rising sign. It's actually really simple. Also, if I look really uncomfortable, I'm not uncomfortable. I'm just very warm right now. I am baking like a ham in this house. It is very hot for Washingtonians. And no, our houses do not typically have air conditioning. And so it is scorching hot. I do want to remind everybody that if you are interested in more content from me, I do more weekly tarot as well as weekly bonus astrology on my Patreon, as well as live content every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, US and Canada. And our Tuesday lives talk all about the collective conscious evolution process, as well as what's going on for the individual. I also do a bit of mentoring, any questions you have about your spiritual path and practice, what you're working on right now. So if you're interested in checking that out, and also, cashing in on some of the discounts I offer to people who pledge $5 a month or more, you can always follow the links in the down bar below. And if you ever want to get a session with me, go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com. So what is Neptune retrograde all about? Well, as you can see on the board, it is all about demystification and discovery. It is all about the opportunity to clear confusion. It parts veils. It neutralizes any of the murkiness that can sometimes be associated with Neptune and Pisces, or in this case, Neptune in Pisces, as an energy, as an experience. When Neptune is direct, we have this very powerful, very all-consuming, fantastical, etheric kind of energy, right? It's highly creative, highly psychic, highly spiritual. But it can also feel, if we're not careful, a bit ungrounded at times. It can actually kind of sweep us off our feet, right? The waves can kind of take over the motion, and we might lose our footing every once in a while, depending on what Neptune's up to at a given period of time. When Neptune is retrograde, things become a lot more precise exacting, and clear. It's like we are given a flashlight, X-ray goggles, and any other kind of detection accoutrements we need to navigate what could be very foggy, veiled, or confusing. And people with Neptune retrograde in their birth charts, whatever house that Neptune retrograde is in, tend to be actually very, very hyper-perceptive of things that are going on around them. You can probably hear Persephone playing with her toy out in the hallway there. Good hunt? Okay. Having Neptune retrograde in a natal chart is not all that uncommon. Neptune goes retrograde for nearly half the year every year. Neptune retrograde is all about giving us the opportunity to get to a deeper, more intimate truth within ourselves and in all of our connections and all of our goings on. And what we actually see is that, Neptune retrograde operates as a big reveal, or a big revealer on a consistent and ongoing basis. And so throughout the course of this next few months, what is hidden in the depths rises and reveals itself. Now, whether it's something hidden in the depths of maybe a story, things kept behind closed doors, things kept in a closet, things kept in the past, things shrouded, this is a time where what has to be revealed is getting revealed. And mysteries, both current and past, are getting solved across the board. So there is this big focus on resolution of a lot of old unanswered questions, old stories. But we also see, yes, this dropping off of the mask, the dropping off of the character. Everyone is getting out of character and into their more consistent and true self. Things that come up during this time may also come up from a dormant place or a state of being dormant. So, sometimes we can find out that things are getting shaken awake that have never been addressed. The sleeping dogs that have been left to lie there are starting to stir. But this is all in the interest of everything getting to its highest truth, a highest organic truth. Lost or hidden matters are clarified, even located, and understood. When we talk about lost things, all right, whether it's getting lost on a path or things that you have misplaced, right? When we talk about lost, I'm not talking about loss as in, something that was, gone, taken away or transitioned out of your life. Lost as in, missing. Lost in the woods. Lost in the heap. Lost in the pile. Lost in the clutter. Things that have been hidden. Again, all getting clarified. You may be finding at this time as well mysteries that you have been struggling to solve in order to advance yourself. You're also noticing that the false self, some kind of character that is embodied either by you or other people, every once in a while, depending on where a person is in their path or on their journey, they might get so role or persona oriented that the true self kind of gets, pushed back a little bit, whether it's pushed back in development or, pushed down and is just completely, frozen. This is a time where that true self comes out anyway. I think I said this last year, people are very invested in the veils of the world coming down. The external veils, in your experience, come down in a way that is proportionate to the veils that you take down. We also have visibility of the etheric integrating consistently, which leads to our intuitive and spiritual abilities getting buffed, getting enhanced for faster, easier mastery. So over the course of this experience as well, for those of you who are practitioners, or for those of you that are aware of your spiritual skills, you're going to be noticing them becoming a lot more intense. You're going to notice them becoming a lot more clear, a lot more profound. You really want to make sure that you are not trying to dumb it down or dilute it in order to kind of maintain what you had going on before this, because this is helping you to level up, right? We're all getting way more experience points during this period in this area than we were before. And you might find, for those of you that are like, well, I don't know, does that mean I don't, get to enjoy that part because I haven't figured it out, or I don't know what it is, or I think so, I don't know. No, again, we're in a place of demystification and discovery. So a lot of you may also be finding that, yeah, abilities you didn't know were abilities are turning on. Because some people actually have spiritual abilities that they don't know are actually spiritual abilities. They think it's willpower. They think it's something else. And I'll give you an example of that from my own life. So at the beginning of my practice, or in the early year or two of my practice, so we're like, late 90s, a lot of my friends were always talking about opening up the third eye, and this is before YouTube and, before Google and all of that. And I remember, the things that they were saying about, opening, you can't progress until you open your third eye, and you can't do this until and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I see things in my mind's eye all the time. Like my mind's eye can perceive spirits in the room, can perceive auras, can, perceive waves and energy. And at the time I couldn't see it necessarily with my naked eye, but I could see it with my mind's eye. And I did not know that that's what they were talking about. So I ended up spending like a year, more even, of my life striving to open my third eye when it was already open. And so you may actually find out that you're further along than you think. You may also find out that sometimes your spiritual peers are not very good communicators. It's a beautiful experience and a beautiful energy. It just requires us to get comfortable with releasing and letting go and no longer playing the part for ourselves or others, which is illusory, in order to not only empower and recover the true self, but also live our life, live our truth in a pure, organic, and empowered way, and watch as our blessings, our abilities, and our levels increase. So that is what I've got for you all. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. I'll be coming out with a bonus tarot video for Neptune Retrograde here soonish. And of course, if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always go on ahead to my website. It's integrativemysticism.com.